Hi everyone, in this next chapter we're going to be using fractions. So before we get started on that, we want to just take a minute to review what you should already know about fractions, but maybe it's been a while so you've forgotten it. So let's go ahead and open this up. The first thing we're going to be looking at is how you simplify a fraction. So there's some steps here that may be different than how you've simplified fractions before. I'm going to show you how to use these steps, and then at the end I'll show you maybe how you learned it at school. It really doesn't matter which method you use, just as long as you're remembering to simplify. You always want to simplify a fraction before you make it your final answer. Okay, so it says in step 1 to write both numbers under the upside down division sign. So we're going to go ahead and apply these steps to this first example, 208 over 240. Those are pretty large numbers, and so we can see that they're both even. They both end in an even number, and so that means they're at least both divisible by 2. So I know that I can simplify this expression, and I can probably start by dividing by 2. Now there's maybe a larger number that can divide into both of those, and if you're willing to try that, then you can. I'm going to just do 2 to start with. All right, so an upside down division sign is something like that. We're going to put both of the numbers inside it because we need to divide both of them by the same number. So I've written those inside my upside down division sign. And the second step is to divide both numbers by a common factor. We're going to write the common factor outside the division bar. So we've already decided, because they're even, that these numbers are divisible by 2, so that goes outside this number, or this symbol here. Step 3 says to write the answer under the division bar. So now I'm going to go ahead and divide. So 2 will go into 208. I can think of what is half of 208, 104. I'm going to write my answer below it. And then I have to also divide 240 by 2 as well. So if I divide 2 into 240, I can think, what is half of 240? 120. And then I need to look at these numbers now and decide, well, can I do it again? Well, yeah, these are both still even, so I know I can at least divide them by 2 again. And sure enough, that's step 4. We need to repeat this until we cannot divide by any more common factors. The only common factor of the two numbers that should remain is 1. So we're going to keep going until the only thing we can divide into both of them without a remainder is 1. All right, so I'm going to draw another symbol to show that I'm dividing again. And again, I want to use 2 as my common factor. So 2 will go into 104. Think of what is half of 104. That would be 52. What is half of 120? That would be 60. And then I look again. Both of these numbers, they're still ending in even numbers. So remember, your even numbers are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Anything that ends in one of those numbers is also even. So these are both even. They're both divisible by 2. I keep going. 2 into 52, think of half of 52. So half of 50 is 25. Half of 2 is 1. Add those together. It's 26. Half of 60 is 30. Can I keep going? Yes, they're both still even. So I'm going to divide by 2 again. 2 will go into 26. Half of 26 is 13. Half of 30 is 15. And I'm going to look at these two numbers. Can I divide? Is there another number that will divide into both of these without giving me a remainder? Well, the only number that will is 1, and that's when I stop. When I get so that only 1 is the common factor, then I know I'm done dividing. All right, so step 5 is to rewrite the numbers below the division bar as the fraction in simplest form. Right, so this first number started as 208. It was on top, so 13 is on top. 240 started over here and it ended as 15, so it's going to go on bottom where the 240 started. All right, so my final simplified fraction is 13/15 and from 208 over 240. All right, so this is a much simpler fraction to work with. That's why simplifying is so important. Let's try it again. You have 48 over 80. All right, so I can see that these are both ending in an even number, so they're both divisible by 2. I may know, well, I think I could divide by something bigger. If you want to, you can. You certainly can do that. You don't always have to use 2. 2 is just an easy one to start with, so that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to draw my symbol and write both numbers inside of it. I'm going to start by dividing by 2, so that goes outside my symbol. And then what is half of 48? 24. If you're having problems doing these quickly, you can always kind of do this problem in your head. What's half of 4? 2. What's half of 8? 4. So what's half of 8? 4. What's half of 0? Just 0. Or half of 80 is 40. Again, I need to look at these numbers to see if I can keep going. They're still going to be divisible by 2. So do it again. Half of 24 is 12. Half of 40 is 20. These are still even, so they're still divisible by 2. Half of 12 is 6. Half of 20 is 10. Can I keep going? Absolutely. These are still even numbers. Divide by 2 again. 2 divided into 6 would be 3. 2 divided into 10 would be 5. And then am I finished? Yes, 3 and 5, the only common factor they have is 1, so I know that that is my final time to divide. The last step is to rewrite this as a fraction, just like it started. So 48 is now a 3, so 3 is going to go on top. 80 is now 5, so 5 is going to go on bottom. So my final simplified fraction is 3/5. Now, this may not be the way you were taught to do it in school. You might have done something like this, where you started with 48 over 80, and then you just thought about it. What are they both divisible? And so you wrote down, you can divide these both by 2. Whatever you do on top, you do on bottom. So you divide them both by 2. Half of 48 is 24. Half of 80 is 40. So we get this. And then you would look again. Can I keep going? Yes, these are still both divisible by 2. So I get 12 over 20. And then you would keep going. Divide by 2 again. And that would be 6 over 10. And can you keep going? Yes. And I would get 3 over 5. So notice I get the same exact answer. This is just a different method for dividing. You don't have to write divided by 2, divide by 2 each time, so it saves you a little bit of work. If you prefer to do it this way, you're more than welcome to. Just remember to always simplify your answer before you make it your final answer. Okay? Guys, simplifying. You're looking for common factors, dividing the numerator and the denominator by both of those until you can't do it any longer, till their only common factor is 1. Thanks.